Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Walk and Talk. Today I have my buddy Joe. If you follow my channel, you know that I've been supporting Joe for the last today's 25th day. Joe's had run into some problems after surgery. Maybe he'll talk about that. And I've known Joe for more than a decade, right?
Yeah, about 10 years.
Yeah, I've known him since military. He's not my patient, he's a friend, so it's okay.
Right.
You know, if somebody's freaking out and I'm asking, questions, he's not my patient, even though I've referred him elsewhere.
His lawyer said it was cool. So
Yeah, exactly. So Joe, all my interviews, I start the same way. Tell me about your childhood.
Yeah, all right, we're starting from the very beginning. Okay, so I was born in Korea. We're actually just talking about Korea since your wife is from there and family and some of my travels. But I was actually born there. My dad was a Department of Defense civilian, and they ended up getting stationed out there. And before a year was up, we ended up moving back to the States. He got moved over to Hunter Army Airfield in Georgia, and we settled in, but he started getting sick. I'll spare some of the details, but essentially untreated diabetes in the early to mid 80s, and he just kind of let himself go a little bit. And the age of 4 years old, really my only memories now were my dad, a drunk blind guy swinging a cane with nothing but Budweiser cans and Marlboro Reds laying around the house. One of the turning points in my life was actually saw him have a seizure and ultimately go into a coma and pass away shortly after my 5th birthday. That was one of the many defining moments. But through the work, some good therapists and psychologists and putting in the work, I've dealt with that in my own way later on in life. But as a kid, I was clueless, so it kind of shaped some poor decisions later on in life. After he passed, we just moved to Southern California, and I was here for a while. There's many more stories in between that, but ultimately I'd lived till I was 17 when I joined the Army, and decided I did not want to stay in the Inland Empire in San Bernardino and Rialto, California. Not exactly the best place for people that want to explore the world and find themselves. So I took off. Mommy signed the papers, joined the Army at 17, and that'll probably segue into some other questions.
Yeah, it was just the first in a line of traumas for you, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about your military career.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, first in a long line of traumas, and just to highlight, I guess, go through the highlight reel, because there's too many stories really to get too much in depth. But I came in as a medic, and I wanted to be a firefighter in California. Plan was, hey, go get my college money and some experience in the military, then get out, move back to California, and be a firefighter. And that's still pretty relevant today, actually.
Okay.
The fires burning and everything. So, but becoming a medic could kind of lead me into that type of career. All firefighters are EMTs or paramedic level providers. So chose to do that, and ultimately first duty station was Fort Campbell, Kentucky, with the 101st Airborne Division. A lot of different stories within there too. So for this interview here, don't know how in depth we're gonna get, but this is pre 9/11. Keep in mind. So I was deploying, but this was peacekeeping missions, no combat yet, and I got to go to Egypt and see the pyramids and the Holy Land in Israel. Did another tour to Kosovo and the Balkans, and then 15-month tour in Korea, where I always wanted to go back and see kind of my birthplace. But we'll let the conversation take a turn in whatever direction.
Because
but
after
in
that,
these-
the proverbial shit got real, and your military career to kind of turn to something more serious, right? You at some point you qualified and became a Green Beret, and then you had some combat deployments. Which one was the worst deployment?
So in terms of, if we're just gonna say worst, I don't know, it's kind of a hard word to define, because backing up, one of those peacekeeping missions actually was a very, critical moment where, 19-year-old kid, just dumb and happy to be traveling the world. A friend of mine, he took his 9mm Beretta pistol and he shot himself in the head, and I was the medic that had to treat him. So won't get too much into that, but essentially that was it was a great deployment, don't get me wrong, but a very specific incident that kind of built on the rest of my life and why I wanted to just keep striving to do better as a medic and hit that next level as a medic, because when you come in as a combat medic, 19-year-old kid, they tell you you're God and that you are gonna save everybody's life, just like they're telling the infantry guys that they're gonna kill everybody and all the bad guys and terrorists and save the world. They're telling us that we're gonna save everybody's life and ultimately be able to perform battlefield surgery on somebody that gets their head decapitated. I don't know, you feel like God coming out of there, and then you get very humbled when you lose your first patient, and it happens to be a close friend in a very graphic, non normal way, I guess.
Yeah. I got it.
Just use that word.
And maybe we'll say, we talked about doing podcasts and stuff and other interviews. We'll talk about it later. I just wanted to ask you to point out that the trauma kind of continued for you, and put it in the context that where you ended up today is meeting a lot of demons that are still hanging out with you and kind of challenging you at every corner, right? So let's talk about why we are. Good morning. Why we are actually walking in the first place, right? Because I do my daily 3 miles, and I've been doing it for many years. And you hit me up and said, "Hey, I've been struggling. I had a surgery." I'll let you talk about that.
Sure.
And join my walk. So, what happened?
Yeah. So fast forward, through the rest of the trauma dump. We'll get into that. But yeah, I reached out to Mike. I was battling a back injury for about 1.5 years, and 2024 was just a rough one. My mom started getting sick in late 2023, in and out of the hospital. She had vascular dementia, so we'd kind of been watching her mind slip. Leading into 2024, we moved away from Orange County. I had to start working less. One thing just kind of piled up on another. Ultimately, Mom passed away in June, about 7 months ago. Had to stop working after that because the injections I was getting for my back pain and the conservative measures weren't holding up. I just couldn't push myself physically. So that created a lot of mental barriers and brought up some things. After losing Mom, then I stopped working, in and out of the ER, and finding myself just finally, I didn't give up all the way. Obviously, I'm still here and smiling on this bright, shiny day, but I wanted to give up a lot of times during this whole period. So one trip to the ER, finally, keep in mind I'd stayed away from opioids the whole time. It was all ice, heat, ibuprofen injections, physical therapy. Once again, failed conservative measures. I had to circumvent the VA to expedite some care. It's another topic for probably a whole Netflix reality show or something. possibly with the VA issues, but
That's for sure.
yeah, essentially, where was I? This happens a lot. Just these mind.
I had a surgery of
Here.
rushing it.
Thank
Had to
you.
circumvent the VA
Yes, thank you. So September 10th, I finally said, you know what, I can't do it anymore, and I decided to get on opioids. I struggled with a lot of addiction years prior, in and out, different parts of my life, and it was all self-medicating. Long life of a long, great life. Don't get me wrong, but just a lot of bad shit, a lot of bad stuff happened. So we deal with things in our own either productive or destructive ways, right?
Yep.
And when I wasn't being productive and trying to achieve and success and all that, I was just like most other young military people, self-medicating and being very self-destructive, not realizing long-term damage that you can do to yourself. So got on opioids, and this was September 10th. I saw the neurosurgeon September 11th, and they said I had to, it was another process that was going to take some time. So I worked my last shift and just got on the pills, and to keep from really getting, we'll just call it hooked, okay? Fortunately, I had the blessing. I'm an addiction medicine and psychiatric physician assistant, so I've been already battling deep in the trenches the opioid epidemic in my line of work, and I lost 9 patients to overdose. So the fentanyl crisis was raging, just as burning as bright as it ever had been, and here I am getting on opioids. So I knew what I was getting into, but you do what you have to do to show up for your family, really, to be there. And another side conversation for later, but to keep from getting on the Norcos and eventually the oxycodone getting a hold of me, I started using cannabis gummies. Okay, I stopped smoking tobacco 2010, so I hadn't touched a cigarette. Oh, we're gonna get ran over here. Man, I just saved another life. Look at that.
There you go. Thank you.
God, these hands are just golden. I started using some cannabis gummies, and that helped. So I was able to keep the opioids to, I won't say minimal, because it did get more out of hand than I liked. But I can say that my personal experiences in self education and knowledge, and really just fucking will to live, to be honest with you. We can probably do a beep or edit that or something.
Man, we'll leave it.
All right.
It's an adult channel.
Yeah.
Or fit for adults, not an adult
Yeah.
channel.
And we're walking all the way back to my old house.
Oh, cool.
That's funny. Sorry, I'm just don't. We're literally taking a trip down memory lane. I used to live right here and didn't even realize that Mike lived down the street.
Yeah, we
And
didn't
for
realize
years.
until today we are neighbors.
We knew each other before that, but I moved away, and I don't know.
So this is where you are today.
I
you know?
digress. Yeah. So
trying to kick the habit and kind of sliding back in and out, but you keep up the walking, and you keep up reaching out to your friends. You're going to meet your friend Randy today, right? He's been really helpful too.
Oh yeah, Randy Moratis from I know him through an organization called Care Possible and Lifelines. I can't say enough about it. The man's a saint, literally. He's a walking, talking, living saint. And hopefully we'll get him on here talking a little bit soon, because him and I and Mike, we have a lot of work to do. We try to turn all this, find meaning in literally everything, all these different events throughout our lives, and these moments of helplessness and these moments of uncertainty and doubt and fear and anger and all these, I could name 100 different emotions, 1,000 different emotions that I've experienced really just in the last year or so in 2024. But I did finally get off the opioids. If anybody sees some of these comments where I say I'm not sober, it's the cannabis actually. That's
Oh, okay.
yeah. So,
I didn't even know that. I thought you were okay.
Oh no,
I'm glad you clarified
I'm
that.
not drinking. I stopped drinking alcohol. And last drink was on New Year's Day.
All right.
I like to say New Year's Eve, but you know, I was with the wife. I had 2 drinks the whole time.
All right.
But I was off the opioids by then, so I never combined them. No. I checked into Ocean View Psychiatric Hospital through a good friend. Can we actually walk this way? I want to see my old... Sorry, my old house is literally right there. I haven't been here in years. I checked in Ocean View through a good friend, got me there. Carla DeCandia, who does a lot of outreach and work for Care Possible, and for Ocean View. So she got me in there. I took that bottle of Norco, I slid it across the table and told them I never wanted to see it again. Oxycodone was gone. I was about to say I threw that out, but no, I didn't. I finished it. But I tapered down enough to the point where I could not I couldn't get down to the last dose. I was taking 5 milligrams 3-4 times a day, and between trying to kind of bring myself out of the fog and everything, just starting to argue with my wife a little bit, and the sleep. You want me to hold that for a while?
No, it's okay.
Feeling
It's
good?
okay. Thanks. Excuse you.
Sleep. Oh, there's a secret bridge down there.
Oh yeah.
The lack of sleep, I was going on 48 hours of not sleeping, and then some events on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day caused a brief psychotic episode. Ultimately, I ended up driving at 3 a.m. Left the house, started driving towards Orange County, did some reckless things, and came out of the other side. So I know it's not my time. I was able to get off the opioids. I've tapered down to, I'm only on a couple different medications now. Mostly just, honestly, this has been the best medicine by far, was walking and just movement. I mean, movement,
Yep.
you name it. I mean, get the blood flowing, the endorphins going, the dopamine, the oxytocin, all the different, happy hormones and neurotransmitters. Walking is good for brain health, for heart health, for mental health, for everything. And if I wasn't able to walk, I don't know if I'd be here for this interview. I can honestly, boldly say that.
Cool. I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're working so hard on yourself. Yeah, why taking me uphill, man? Climbing mountains. That's because he was born in Korea.
Yeah, there you go. You gotta build up.
But yeah, just some new study came that shows that movement, like walking, is actually a better predictor of longevity than age, even cancer diagnosis. So yeah, movement is super important. Walking. I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah, throughout this whole journey, I've learned one of my favorite quotes, and hopefully I don't butcher this. I always butcher quotes when I'm like talking in front of people. Yeah. But it says, "We don't stop moving when we get old. We get old because we stop moving," right? And watching my own mom slowly die from dementia and her osteoporosis and diabetes and all these chronic diseases, and her diet, it was the lifestyle changes which kind of sent me down this path now where I'm not going to be working full-time as a PA anymore. We're hung that up, and I'm going to be doing some part-time work, per diem stuff, mostly just a lot of advocacy and talking and speaking, and hopefully once again try to make more sense out of this, and hopefully become an example and just share some lessons learned for others. And hopefully I don't know where this is gonna go, but I know it's keeping me moving, keeping me walking, so we'll start there.
Yeah, I have 2 things. I just got back from Europe, spending 3 months with my mom.
Here, I'll push you up the hill.
And same thing. My mom had 2 bad falls, and she used to be so active. So I'm watching her kind of unfortunately a little bit decompensate because she's not able to walk as much. But yeah, let's kind of wrap it up. I was reading something this morning about Jungian archetypes. I'm a fan. Now a lot of people say now it's discredited, it's not evidence-based. It doesn't matter. I like that framework. I like that way of sort of describing people. So you're obviously a caregiver, right? And you spend so much energy and effort, which is great, taking care of others. And sometimes these archetypes don't serve us too well when they define us too much, when we are too much of caregiver for others. And if you look for solutions by caring for others, then you need to sort of take care of yourself first. So I'm out of breath.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy.
Are you getting emotional or just like out of shape?
Oh, not at all.
I'm kidding.
It's the hill.
It's the hill, yeah.
But I'm so glad that you're finally taking care of yourself. Yeah, and I hope that everything works out, and I'm there for you, and you got a lot of people in your corner rooting for you. And we'll do another interview soon.
Yes, absolutely. Before I just want to, say this. It really the area that I was lacking in was the socialization. You know, when you isolate too much. Not that I completely isolated. I was honestly had to just tune out everything else just to show up for my wife and kids. But I have to say that just, in some of my intoxicated stupors, some people, get drunk and text their exes or whatever. I guess I use cannabis. I don't sleep, and I put things out on Facebook. I guess you could say that might have been some kind of weird cry for help. But it turned into a lot more people really that I haven't even been in touch with in years that reached out and just saying kind things. Whether it's a thumbs up or a heart or a love or like or whatever, we call these things. God, I sounded old when or a comment about, how I've affected their life in some way, or just stay in the fight, anything. And I think that's the single biggest thing where I feel obligated now, one, to take care of myself and my family first and foremost, but to really take this platform a little higher. I could go back to work for $180,000, $200,000, $220,000 a year, and God has provided. That's another conversation. I've learned some other ways to make a living, but essentially I'm ready to just kind of share a little bit more from what I've learned through 10-year journey of psychiatry and addiction medicine as a provider, a 44-year journey as a human being, and I'm not meant to just work behind a computer for the system and be a walk-in prescription pad and just throw pills at people. I'm here to really hopefully live my life and be an example of how to care for others, and just use what you've learned to give others a leg up and a boost, hopefully.
That's cool. So, but again, you gotta work on yourself. You see, you're already talking
That's
about
why I'm here.
Taking care of others.
Through talking.
I know.
Yeah.
But so hey guys, this was a wonderful interview.
Sorry.
This was a wonderful interview.
Yeah.
I hope that you learned something from it. The thing I learned from it is don't trust a guy that was born in Korea when he tells you it's all flat walking, and don't go for a brisk hike with a green beret. Those were 2 lessons. But yeah, no, I'm really glad we did this. We are gonna do more interviews. I'm glad Joe's taking care of himself. Do the same. Hey guys, if I'm posting daily these accountability check-ins. Go for a walk and maybe just post a comment saying, yeah, I did that too. So so this was a great interview. I'm gonna interview Joe again. I'm sure I'll look for some other bold guys to interview, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.